So you guys, today we're going to be installing some rock lights on the Cherokee. So we just got this in from Lasfit. We already opened it because we were curious to see what was in the box. So this is some instructions for the wiring. So this has the wiring harness and some hardware on the switch. It comes with the fuse, power ground, the plugs for the lights, and the switch. So there's two functions on this. There's a orange, something like an amber, and there's white. This one says behind, this one says behind, front, and front. I don't know if there's a difference between the front and the rears, but let's see. Let's compare them. This is a little rubber or silicone little piece that I guess you could put it on the tube because it has like a round cut to it. I'm not sure if we're gonna use it if we put it straight to. Oh yeah, actually you can still use it like this. This is a protective film, so you can remove this. And see the one for behind. They look like they're the same. This one could go like this. The plugs seem to be the same, so I guess it wouldn't really matter if you put front or rear. Alright, so they also have a kit that has 8 LEDs. This one only has 4. Let's see, get 4 of those. Rubber mounting pads, 1 switch, a little Allen wrench, zip ties, bolts, nuts, washers, fuse, insulated dust cap. Okay, so now that we have that piece removed, we have access to this part. So now we could go ahead and place the light down here and mark our holes. We're just gonna use a Sharpie. I think the easiest way to do it is just to put the rubber right there, and then with the Sharpie we're just gonna mark the holes. So I think we're going to drill this hole right here, the bigger one on the left side, and then the 2 little ones on the for the mounting, because we want the harness to go through here straight up. And it has these little cutouts if you want to route the line outside, I guess outside of the vehicle or wherever you want to mount it. You have that option as well. You have this one, that one, and the 2 holes up top. Okay, so these are the 3 dots that we made. We're just gonna use a measuring tape just to kind of make sure that's somewhat centered, and then we're gonna do a little pilot hole. We're gonna draw a pilot hole on all 3 spots. 1 here, 1 there, and 1 there, just to make sure we're good on the back side, which we are. We know we are. There's just a harness for the tail lights. We gotta make sure we don't hit that. And I guess depending on your vehicle, we have a lot of space in here to get in with this little impact drill, and we could get to these holes. But if you have something with less wheel gap, you're gonna have to remove your tire. Got a little bit of the carpet on one of them, but I forgot to remove it, set it aside. Now we're gonna go in with the bigger one just to make the holes large enough for the hardware. Anticipate your bolt. And this going. Alright, so now we have to drill out the one for the harness. I don't think our drill bit is big enough for that one, so we're gonna have to get another one. So now that we have all 3 holes drilled, we're going to insert the harness. But don't forget to put it through the mounting rubber. But we're gonna insert it. Oh, we can't even get it through. I'm gonna have to wobble that hole out a little bit more. The one for this plug, just a little bit. We were able to get the harness through the hole. So now we just gotta feed the wire all the way through. If you have a deburring tool, it'd be a good idea to deburr this. We don't. We're just gonna leave it like that for now. And we're gonna have to feed the rest of this harness, and at the same time, put a bolt through this side and the nut through the back. It's gonna be like this. I'm gonna have to go ahead and do this right now because I'm by myself. Then I'll show you guys what it looks like after I put the hardware in there. Okay, so now that we have the light installed, we've peeled off the protective film. Now we can go inside and assemble everything. We're going to route this wire next to this harness. We could zip tie it to it just so it won't be flopping around, but the idea will be to run it along this panel right here all the way down. We have to put the carpet back and anything else that came off. So now that we have this panel back on, we're gonna start routing this cable through here. So we're gonna remove this panel. For every vehicle, I guess it's gonna be different because you have to find the best way to route your wiring. For this one, we had to remove this little seat to get to this. But now we're gonna have to remove all these bolts. I mean screws. We're gonna remove this here, this one here. Also the kick panel. There's one screw back here. And once that plastic is pulled back, you can see that the harness still runs behind the seat belt right here. So that's where we're gonna route this cable through. That's like a little hole. And fish it through and get it all the way across to the other side. Now that we have the wire zip tied in place, we got it zip tied to the existing harness for the interior of the XJ. We're gonna go ahead and start putting the panels back on. For the kick panel, we are going to put the harness, we're gonna put the wire on this corner like this, and then we're gonna put the panel back on because we're just gonna let it rest there for now until we get the button and stuff situated. Just make sure it's not getting caught up with your hood latch. You might zip tie it, or we could actually go behind the hood latch. Like that. Now we're just gonna put it back together and put the other panel back on. Okay, we have the wire resting in place right here, and we're gonna move over to the front. So for the front, I think it's gonna be a little more complicated because of the mounting surface that we have to work with. We put it over here, it's gonna be a little too far back and it's gonna be angled out. And if we put it up here, This is just plastic. I'm gonna go ahead and start removing these plastic clips so you guys can see. I'm gonna have to cut some of this off. Probably a good amount. So this seems to be the middle or center of the wheel well, and the only way to mount it onto that would be to make it the long way, which we don't want because the rears are horizontal. So we're gonna figure something out right now. Let me just go ahead and finish removing this, and then once we come up with the plan, we'll show you guys. So the only thing we could come up with is to use this piece of flat aluminum that we had laying around. So we're just gonna cut a piece off, and we're gonna use it on the back side of this brace, so we could bolt the light right about there. If we go over here, like I said, it's gonna be at a different angle and it's gonna be further in. So we got the light mounted. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see, but that's what we came up with. And it's actually in there. It's not coming. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere, to be honest. We drilled the little hole right here for the harness. There's holes on this vehicle that we could have used, but we just decided to drill our own, just closer to the light, so the wiring wouldn't show. Gotta bend that into place a little more. That looks good. So on the engine bay, we got the wiring right here. We're gonna zip tie it to the existing harness, and we were thinking of either drilling a hole somewhere right here or finding a grommet that we could go through. And it looks like this one is in a good place. By the way, we already did the passenger side as well, just so we could have the wire ran, which is this one. You can see it ends up right around here. We got the wire right here, and both of them go in there. We're gonna add one more zip tie right there, but we're just gonna run the power wire first. Show you guys the wire. This is the switch. This is the power and the ground. Pretty neat. They put a fuse, and you could take this off so you could put it through the firewall a lot easier, like that. And then you could just connect everything. So most of this wiring is going to be under the dash, since it's a little too long. We're just going to zip tie it and then tug it away. And this is where the wires came in. Let's see, let me get my light first. So the wires came in through that grommet right there, and that's where we're gonna put this harness through to get it to the other side, and then connect it to the battery. So this is gonna go all the way through. Hopefully this makes it through that grommet. It's pretty thick, but let's see. We got the wiring for the power and ground through the grommet. So we just have it right here. We need two more zip ties. We're just gonna zip tie to this, and we're gonna zip tie it over there as well. So we're basically done in the engine bay. I'm gonna go ahead and close it up for now, and we'll move inside the Jeep to get the switch mounted. The switch, we're thinking of putting it on this side, this little panel box thingy right here. It's empty, so we want to put it right here next to the headlight. Have it like this or like that, I'm not sure. And there should be some room behind this piece to hide the wires. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this. A lot of these little pieces are broken, like this one. That one's missing a screw. There's a couple of screws all across, and there's one here that needs to come off. So with this pulled down, you can see that you have some room right here. This is where we're gonna put the rest of this harness. We're gonna roll it up and zip tie it and just try to hold it right here in this little section. We got the one for the rear wheel ran across. That's that one, and then this is the one for the rear driver's side wheel. So these are here already. Now we just gotta get the rest of the wires nice and neat and then roll them up. But I think what we're gonna do before we do all that, we're gonna get to this panel so we can drill the hole for the switch. So it's a couple of screws. There's one here, two there, one up here, and then this whole thing could come off. We got this piece off, so now we're going to drill a hole on this right in the middle. Then we're gonna use a step bit to get the hole large enough to be able to fit the switch. This looks like it's gonna work. Oh, there you go. Doesn't look too bad. So let's go back under the dash. We gotta get the wires up here. So all this is for switches, because some of these Jeeps did come with other options, but this one didn't come with the extra stuff. So we gotta get this from back there. Gotta get it up here. Let me see, let me separate these wires first. Now that we have the wires through and the plastic bezel back in place, we could just connect these back on the switch. Like that, and now we can put this bezel back on. We got the wires rerouted over this little box. Now we're just gonna zip tie everything nicely, or as nice as possible, and then we'll show you guys right before we put this back. We'll show you what it looks like. We just gotta figure out where exactly to put the zip ties to tuck everything away. Everything's put back together. Now let's try it. So that should be on. Let me check the battery. So this thing has a fuse right here. And earlier when we were running the wires for the switch, we heard, oh yeah, so the fuse is blown. So let me go replace this fuse real quick. Put a new fuse. So we're gonna put a new fuse in here, and that should fix the problem. This is what it looks like in the daytime. And if you flip the switch down, this is the white light. So we're gonna wait until it gets dark, and we'll give you guys a couple of clips of the Jeep with the lights on. We brought it here to the darkest spot that we could find in this parking lot to show you guys how bright these lights are. Turn them on. So this is that yellow amber looking color. And this is the other color, which is white. So you can see how much it illuminates from there to here. So that's it for this video. Make sure to check us out on Instagram at Yonke_OXC Films. I'll leave that in the description down below, and I will also leave a link to these lights so you can go ahead and check them out.